Well, unfortunately, now you see why I made the video I did on Saturday. What is up, fan to fans? Literally released a video an hour ago. An hour ago. And you see in that video, go watch it. After this, go watch it. That I put draft needs, I put cornerback number 2. This is why. The Dolphins and 7-time Pro Bowler cornerback Jalen Ramsey are mutually set to explore trade options, and it wouldn't be surprised if he played elsewhere in 2025. Miami and Ramsey's due $25.1 million fully guaranteed this season could be parting ways. I unfortunately heard about this and knew about this on Saturday. And I don't like to give you guys information unless I know it's like concrete, definite, like, okay, this is really happening. But I kind of heard about this and knew about this on Saturday. You could see it on my Twitter. Let me show you exactly what I did on Saturday. But you could see on my Twitter, this is from Saturday. Put the sad emoji. And then I said, if Miami trades da 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 da, and then I put the way they're working, and then this is the tweet that made me make the video Saturday about it doesn't seem like they're on the hot seat. Lo and behold, now you know why I made all those tweets and everything. And again, like I said, I don't like to give you information unless I know for a fact it's concrete, and unfortunately, it's pretty concrete. So the Miami Dolphins and Jalen Ramsey are exploring trade options. And it's fishy because this is the contract situation with that, right? If they trade Jalen Ramsey before June 1st, you see it's a negative $12.5 million cap hit. The Dolphins have about 17 million in cap space. Sorry. If they do it post June 1st, it's a $5.9 million cap savings. So they'd have to move some money around, or they'd have to finagle it somehow to do it before the draft on next Thursday. Because again, it's negative 12.5 round up to $12.6 million if they trade him and try to get draft capital for this upcoming draft. So it's just a big head scratcher for me. Again, you bring back Chris Greer, you bring back Mike McDaniel, the status quo is not good enough, blah, 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 this, and that. And you would think that these two guys, being that they were very close, well, should have been fired, but should have been very close to being fired, would have a fire under their butt. You know, re-sign the 3 guys I've talked about, Brewers, Brooks, and Sealer, get cap space there, go out and be aggressive with the trenches, do this, do that, you know, like make the team better than it was last year, because your job's on the line. And if your team sucks, if you start 2-6, if anything like this happens, blah, 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 you're going to get fired. And what do the Dolphins do? What does Chris Greer and Mike McDaniel do? They go out and get 1 starting offensive lineman. They go out and get a punter, a 3rd string wide receiver that will help, 2 safeties that one can't stay healthy and the other one is all right. Linebacking core that is filled with decent guys, but no real starters or real like ground beaters or world beaters. I almost say ground beaters. You don't really get a corner. You get Artie Burns to be your, to compete for corner too. Like they go out and they don't do much. And again, it makes you sit there and scratch your head about, did Stephen Ross say something to them in the aspect of, I'm going to give you this year and I'm going to give you next year. You better fix this because it's just, there is no sense of urgency. There is no sense of we need to fix something. And I think that you're seeing players, especially veteran players, see the environment or whatever with Mike McDaniel, and you know how last year people were coming late and this and that, and the whole friendly aspect of it, and it's not working because Calais Campbell goes back to Arizona. Teron Armstead retires, but I think Teron Armstead of retiring, it didn't really matter. You're seeing Tyreek Hill put these cryptic things out with the peace sign and all that stuff. Now you're seeing Jalen Ramsey with the possible trade. You're seeing all these people leaving, Kendall Lamb leaving, all these, you know, and it just, things aren't adding up to the perspective and the outside looking in of, well, these guys are competing for their jobs, and you know, if they don't start well, if they start on a 5-game 6-game losing streak, or if they start like they did this past season, they're going to be fired. But you're going to trade Jalen Ramsey, who, regardless if you think had a bad year, a good year, or a mediocre year last year, you trade him. And like, again, go watch the video I just released an hour ago. Who do you have opposite of him? Who do you have now if you trade him? You're going to have Storm Duck and Ethan Bonner being your starting corners, or you're going to have Will Johnson and Ethan Bonner, Will Johnson, Storm Duck, Will Johnson, Cam Smith be your 1-2 corner, or Barron, or whoever we draft. Like, it just is, none of this is adding up. And again, this is why I talked about this on Saturday. This is why I put the tweets out I did on Saturday, because a lot of, or Friday, 3 days ago, a lot of this is just not making any sense. Like, if they were to trade Jalen Ramsey and then bring in Asante Samuel Jr., Mike Hilton, Rasul Douglas, okay, maybe I'm like, all right, well, you know, maybe they got something up their sleeve. That's the only way that this makes sense, right? They trade Jalen Ramsey to whoever, right? You pick a team. You obviously have to deal with the cap situation, because again, negative $12.6 million. You ain't signing anybody if you're dealing with that huge of a cap hit. And then they bring in Asante Samuel Jr. You know, he obviously has to pass a physical, yada yada. Then you're like, oh, all right. So then maybe they'll pair him with Barron or Johnson, or, you know, Amos, or whoever they want to take in the draft. Okay, maybe I could see a direction, because they are now one of the younger teams. I talked about that on Saturday. I think they're top 10 youngest team in the NFL when they were going from bottom 10, oldest team in the NFL. But that's what I got for you, because this is, like I said, I heard about this on Saturday. I didn't want to, you know, come out and talk about it without having concrete evidence. And now that it came to fruition, that it's a mutual thing. It's not even that Jalen Ramsey is asking for a trade, or, you know, it's a mutual thing. They're, you know, mutually exploring trade options. Meaning the Dolphins were ready to move on from him, and he's like, yeah, let me go try to win a Super Bowl somewhere, because I'm not going to win anything here. Stephen Ross wants to keep that, though. Stephen Ross wants to keep that status quo. We'll see how it all pans out. Go watch earlier today's video. Like I said, literally released it an hour ago, talking about draft needs. I put corner above guard, and now you see why. I didn't put it above defensive line, and you'll hear why. But I have corner as number 2, spoiler, in my draft needs. Go check it out, and now you see why. If any more news breaks, I will obviously make a video. I will see you if no more news breaks. I will see you tomorrow. If it does, I will see you later. But like usual, stay classy. Evans out.